In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 8 fragrances from the Perfume Parlour that are all inspired by niche fragrance house Nasomatto, who are based in the Netherlands and produce some of the most daring, risk-taking fragrances in the fragrance industry. So if you're looking for something a little bit different and quirky and a bit unique, then you've definitely come to the right place. So to find out which one of these from this line I'd recommend, and also the ones I'd advise you to stay clear from, then stay tuned to this episode of Mags Frags. Yes, hello again everybody, and thank you very much once again for tuning into this special Perfume Parlour edition of Mags Frags. My name's Paul, and today I'm taking a look at 8 of the Perfume Parlour's interpretations of Nasomatto fragrances. Nasomatto is a very artistic and creative niche brand, which for ages I presume were a Japanese brand due to the Nasomatto name just sounding Japanese, and I also thought that the bottles took on a Japanese influence with the oversized caps, etc. But actually the name is an Italian word translating to crazy nose, which is reference to the Italian perfumer Alessandro Gualtieri, who is the nose behind the collection. They produce some of the most unique and quirky scents that I personally find quite challenging, and I'd say that you'd need to be fairly deep into your fragrance journey or even a total hardcore fraghead to fully appreciate what some of these scents are all about. So I'll say this is a bit of a warning. They aren't going to be for everybody, and if you've only ever worn designer fragrances in the past, then some of these may be a bit too out there for some of you. They also come with a lofty price tag at around about the £125 mark for just a small 30ml bottle size, so definitely not chump change. These Perfume Parlour EDP sprays are very accurate representations, and they're almost 10 times cheaper, coming in at around about the £14 mark for the same size bottle. So they're a great way to get an idea of what Nasomatto fragrances are all about without having to blind buy any of them or travel a long distance to your nearest like niche outlet that stocks them so that you can try them out for yourselves. Most of these, however, that I'm going to talk about today are actually the Perfume Parlour's extract sprays, which are the premium quality range and usually cost just a few pounds more, around about £20 for a 30ml bottle size, which personally I think is worth it just basically for the bottle design alone, but the juice inside doesn't tend to need macerating in the way that the EDPs do. But before I begin today's rundown, if you are interested in picking up any of these bottles that featured in today's video to try out for yourself, you can use my unique discount code and get yourself 10% off your first order, which I'll leave a direct link to down in the description. The link will direct you to a login page and you'll be asked to create a login name and also a password, but once you've created an account, logged in and made your purchases, then your discount will automatically be applied at the checkout. And as always guys, just a quick disclaimer, I don't work for the Perfume Parlour and this video is in no way sponsored by them in any way, so all of these opinions that you are about to hear today are my own opinions, and I did buy these bottles with my own money. I do however receive a small commission for recommending you to their website, so just by clicking on the link you'll save you 10% while supporting the channel and helping me to bring you some more free content in the future. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to talk about today is called Forgiven, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0951. This is a copy of Nasomatto's Pardon, and it used to go by the name of Pardoned going back a few years ago now, and I've still actually got a little bit left in this little OG 30ml bottle size from back in the day, complete with the old style label. This is an amber woody fragrance which is perfect for the autumn and winter months, with top notes of magnolia and floral notes, and in the heart there's dark chocolate, tonka bean and cinnamon, and in the base there's agar wood and sandalwood. This one is a rich and luxurious smelling fragrance that's fairly dark and mysterious with a smoky woody backbone. But this is all kind of sweetened up by a touch by the dark chocolate and the tonka beans, and it produces a warm and comforting aroma, but it's definitely not what I'd describe as like a sweet fragrance, definitely not in the gourmand territory. The prominent accord in this is that smoky woodiness, but there's also quite a bit of other stuff going on, and you can actually pick out the individual notes, especially the dark chocolate and the oud. But if you concentrate hard enough, you will also be able to isolate the magnolia at the top and a hint of the cinnamon, which brings a sprinkling of festive spice. This took me a few wearings to get used to it at first, and I just wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but it's definitely grown on me over the years, and now I really enjoy it. It's a unique, bold and masculine scent that smells very expensive, and for me it's one of the highlights in the Nasomatto range, and one of the first that I'd recommend if you're looking to pick one of these up in your next Perfume Parlour order. This extract spray is extremely accurate to the original and it performs really well. You'll get a full 10 hours of longevity out of it without any problem, and it just projects really well. The people around you aren't going to fail to notice it, and you are going to stand out because the aroma that this produces is not something that many people will have come across before, so you may need a little bit more confidence to rock this one and pull it off with some authenticity. But yeah, definitely a great solid pickup. Okay, so the next one in today's list goes by the name of Books, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0952. This is inspired by Giordo, which is a woody leather chypre fragrance that I describe as being like the rock star of the Nasomatto lineup. It's a bold, aggressive and in-your-face kind of scent that packs a real punch. It actually opens up quite syrupy, sweet and fruity, but as soon as the pungent leather and the rich woods and spices come through from the base, it develops into a really strong and powerful aroma that in my opinion is ultra masculine, and it'll definitely fill a room. It's the kind of scent profile that would work perfectly with that grungy fashion style of the high street fashion brand All Saints, with a real like kind of punk rock edge to it. It does bear a resemblance to Halfeti by Penhaligons, so if you are familiar with Halfeti, that's the closest reference that I can give you as to what this kind of smells like, and you'll definitely pick up on that scent DNA, but I'd say Giordo is ever so slightly more dark smelling with maybe a bit more of an animalic accord in the base. This Perfume Parlour version does a fantastic job at replicating the original, and it transitions from the sweet opening into that powerful combo of the woods and the leathery dry down, exactly like what you get with the original Nasomatto. The far dry down is like much softer, and after about the 4-hour mark it turns almost into a soft powdery smell, like a fairly sweet brushed suede kind of aroma with a velvety texture. Again, this might be a bit rich and pungent for some people, but I really enjoy this one whenever I'm wearing something like a leather bomber jacket or a denim jacket, because for me it has more of a casual feel about it. If I wanted a more dressed up Nasomatto scent, I'd probably go for the Pardon copy that I've just spoken about. This is more like your rock chic kind of perfume. Right, so up next is one called Strong Pashtun, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0031. This is a copy of probably the most well-known fragrance from the Nasomatto line, and that's Black Afghano. I bought this EDP version of this one just so that you could see that even the juice in this one is black in colour, which is just like the original. This is a dark, smoky and resinous fragrance with a blend of conflicting fragrance notes that together produce a really interesting aroma. Up top there's green notes and also the note of cannabis, which is noticeable throughout the life of the scent. In the heart there's tobacco, coffee, woodsy notes and resins, and in the base there's incense and oud. Yes, so right from the first spray you do get like a fresh green herbal quality, but it's also got like a dirty soil-like earthy background accord, which comes off like a strong patchouli note. Then there's a very, very smoky incense note, and like I say, there's all kind of weird and wonderful conflicting notes in this one. There's some sweetness from the cannabis and the tobacco, and then there's also some bitter roasted coffee as well. And it's kind of like a real kind of love or hate type fragrance, and unfortunately for me it is the latter of the two. I've really tried to make friends with this fragrance, but it's just one that I don't seem to really be able to get along with. The best niche fragrances do divide opinions, and this is one where if I were to ask 100 people to sample it, I think I'd get a 50-50 split between the people who love it and the people that hate it. This is a full-bodied, dark, masculine scent with a real dirty quality to it. Who would I say this fragrance would suit? Well, it's Halloween today, and it's what I would expect Michael Myers from the Halloween movies to smell like. It's just really dirty, smoking, and just a little bit haunting. The performance is really good, and you'll get 8 hours plus of longevity with a decent projection. So in terms of the quality, it's absolutely top notch. But I personally just aren't a fan of the scent DNA and basically how this one smells. Okay, so the fourth one that I'm going to talk about today is called Confusion, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1648. This one is inspired by Baronda, which is a boozy, musky fragrance with a very prominent note of whiskey, which is soaked into a base of woody notes, rose, musk mallow, ambroxan and musk. Again, this is a really creative and artistic fragrance which is very unique and interesting. Some fragrances are described as being boozy, but in reality don't really live up to the hype. But in the case of Baronda, the whiskey is 100% the star of the show, and all the other notes just play like a supporting role. It starts out with the whiskey being really prominent, and it's pretty much all I pick up on at first, but as it dries down you do get lots of the soft musk and the velvety rose coming through. Again, with this one, Nasomatto, I like blending notes like rose and whiskey together just to scramble your senses and basically make you wonder what the hell it is you're supposed to be smelling. But again, I quite like this one, and it is an interesting scent, and it does grow on you the more that you wear it. It's one that I'd wear for a night out rather than like as a work scent or a casual day fragrance. It projects well whilst the whiskey's around, but it does fade into a very soft musky skin scent after about the maybe 4 to 5 hour mark. It is well worth trying out for yourself though, and this is quite quirky, and I do like this one. Right, so we're halfway through the list now, and the next one that I'm going to talk about in today's list goes by the name of Aniseed, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1345. This is inspired by Absinthe, which is a green aromatic fragrance with notes of wormwood, green notes and vetiver. This is Nasomatto's take on like more of a slightly fresher green fragrance, and it does open up quite crisp, like a damp green outdoorsy smell. You do get a hint of aniseed, which resembles the absinthe drink, which is kind of, I think it comes from the wormwood herb in the opening, but there's also plenty of prominent vetiver, which brings with it like an earthy backbone to the scent. For the most part, it's quite a bitter, herbal, kind of a green smell, but it does actually sweeten up a touch in the far dry down. It's possibly the most linear of all the Nasomatto scents that I've tested, and it doesn't really change a great deal, but it's a pleasant enough smell without much of like a wow factor in my opinion, and I'd personally never consider paying over £100 a bottle for the original. But this Perfume Parlour copy is much less expensive, and if you are into your more fresh, green, outdoorsy kind of scent profiles, then this one might just be worth picking up and trying out for yourself. But unfortunately, it's not one that I'll be reaching for that often. It doesn't really kind of just wow me or do anything really for me, apart from just smelling green. It also doesn't seem to last or project as well as some of the others, but it's still okay, and you'll get a decent couple of hours of moderate projection, and again you'll probably get 5 or 6 hours of longevity out of this one. Okay, so the sixth one on today's list is called Respected, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1146. This one is inspired by Blamage, which is again a woody leather-based fragrance, but this time the prominent wood is a birch note. So you get a very clean wood aroma, especially in the opening, which I find leans a little, maybe a touch feminine, with a slightly floral introduction. There's no fruit notes listed in this in any of the marketing or online sites, but I do get a definite smell of peach both from the original and this Perfume Parlour version. It's not as prominent as what you'd get in Tom Ford's Bitter Peach, but it's definitely there in the opening and through into the heart of the scent. We've also got some clean white musk and some dry powdery suede in there also, and overall I find this to be like more of a relaxing and easygoing scent than most of the others in the Nasomatto line, and it gives off more of a lazy Sunday morning in the springtime kind of vibe, and I would say it's just less quirky than some of the Nasomatto offerings. The performance is fairly soft, which makes it suitable to wear as an office fragrance, and like I say, it's one of the more normal smelling scents in the line, so you literally won't be getting up your boss's nose if you decide to wear it as a work scent. You'll get 5 to 6 hours of longevity with a nice mild projection, so definitely not a powerhouse or a head turner of a fragrance, but overall I'd just say it's nothing to get too excited about, but it is a nice fragrance and it's not something that I dislike. It's a simple, delicate and clean smelling scent for when you just want like more of an intimate olfactory experience rather than sharing your scent with the whole world and especially the people around you. Right, so the penultimate one on today's list is called Powerhouse, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1774. This is a copy of Fantomas, which is a fairly recent Nasomatto release, and I'd say that this one fragrance best sums up the quirky and creative identity of Alessandro Gualtieri. The notes in this are rubber, plastic, melon, caramel, gunpowder, earthy notes, smoke, tropical fruit, cashmeran and patchouli, which has got to be one of the most ad hoc note breakdowns I think I've ever seen. I mean, how stupid am I for not realising that melon and gunpowder would blend together seamlessly? And oddly enough, I actually do smell the melon and the rubber and like a synthetic plastic note in the opening, but I don't get much in the way of like the smoke or the gunpowder that's listed in this one. Not that I'd know what gunpowder smelled like anyway, but we are only a few days away from bonfire night, so I might just give a discharge firework a sniff just to get an idea and to train my brain to as to what it smells like. Again, this is just a wacky, unique smelling scent that leaves you wondering what it is you're actually trying to smell. But you do get quite a nice prominent fruity melon accord, but then there's also this underlying like dirty base layer of mainly patchouli and the rubber, and I just find it just a bit weird, as I do with most fragrances from Nasomatto. Annoyingly again though, I am just left with like a stalemate position with this one, because I actually don't dislike it, but it's just not something I would ever want to wear myself. It's like when you see some crazy outfit on a fashion show catwalk, and you know it may be cutting edge for the elite like fashionistas, but you'd never dream of walking down to the local supermarket wearing it yourself. But nonetheless, you have to doff your cap to Nasomatto for daring to be different with this one. It certainly is a quirky out there one, but give it a go, see what you think to it. Okay, so the final one in today's episode is called Shiny Aroma, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0787. This is inspired by Silver Musk, which is quite a soft powdery scent with a cool, clean, soapy aroma. It's got an outdoor airiness to it, and it makes me think of like clothes drying on a washing line on a breezy spring day, that kind of fabric softener vibe. It's a really nice alternative to a neroli-based fragrance for anyone looking for that relaxing, fresh out of the shower, soapy scent profile. This is a unisex fragrance, but in my opinion it does lean a touch more towards the feminine side of centre. There's a mild citrus in the opening with some delicate white florals and a powdery, clean, musky dry down. It's just a simple, linear smelling scent, like what you'd get from a linen scented candle. It's definitely the most easygoing fragrance out of all of these, and it'd be great to wear just at home in the evening after you've just got in from work and had a bath or a shower, and you just want it to smell super clean whilst you lounge about on the sofa watching the TV. It's just a very chilled out and comforting scent, and probably the most versatile one in the Nasomatto lineup. In terms of performance, it's fairly decent. It's soft, again, quite a soft projection, but you will get maybe 6 to 7 hours of longevity out of it, but it does stay fairly close as a skin scent. But overall, very nice smelling scent, very easygoing, very relaxed. Okay, so in summary, all of these are really unique and interesting in their own way, but they're also quite challenging fragrances in my opinion. However, the three that stand out the most for me, and the ones I'd be most likely to recommend that you try out for yourselves, are the Giordo copy, the Baronda copy, and also the Pardon copy. My least favourites are the Absinthe copy and, controversially, the Black Afghano copy, which I do realise a lot of people really enjoy, but it's just not my cup of tea, I'm afraid, because I'm just not basically into dirty, earthy smelling fragrances in general. The Silver Musk is by far the least challenging and the easiest to wear as like a casual scent at home or as an office fragrance. And the Fantomas is just a psychedelic medley of weird notes, but actually somehow smells quite intoxicating. But like I always say, fragrances are highly subjective, so I'd say get yourself a few travel sprays from the Perfume Parlour under a tenner each and just try them out for yourself and see which ones work best for your own personal taste and your own skin chemistry. Yes, so once again folks, that's about it for today's full house review from the Perfume Parlour. But you won't have to wait long for the next one because I have just received another 5-bottle haul to talk about later in the week, which includes some real beauties, including the Perfume Parlour's inspired by version of Ganymede by Marc-Antoine Barrois, which has been requested several times down in the comments section. So if you don't want to miss that one and also don't want to miss other future uploads, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I upload any new content. It's also always great to hear about all your own personal experiences with your Perfume Parlour purchases. So if there's any that you've really enjoyed yourself, or any that you're thinking about purchasing and you'd like me to talk about in future videos, drop me a message down in the comments section and I will feature it in a future upload. So once again, thank you very much once again for tuning in to this latest episode. Stay safe, keep smelling fresh, and I'll see you soon for another one. Bye bye for now.